The next handful of minutes, believe it or not, are brought to you by Grapplex. Grapplex, it won't come undone. Or it will. Whatever's sexier.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Grapplex message. Hi, Ray Dacron is my name, and the name of the CEO of Grapplex. So there's this thing, t-shirts. Have you ever seen one? What about feel, though? But have you ever, for example, held one? Or even worn it on your own body? Well, then, here's a t-shirt. This is one made to celebrate the sports entertainment enthusiast in all of us. Even down to the color. Raw red. Raw red. Yes, it's available for purchase. Sure. What size are you? Now available at prowrestlingtees.com/Joel Gertner.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 20 of this 69-minute eargasm. I'm Grant Fletcher, and with me is the only person I know capable of hosting this show, and that's not just because his name is in the title. The quintessential stud muffin, Joel Gertner. Joel, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Welcome back from Chicago, man.
Yeah, man. Chicago, like 1,000 miles away or so. I was there. It was unbelievable. Great time. Starcast, dude. The third iteration of Starcast. Was running one of the rooms, one of the stages that live shows were on. So different podcasts were in the room. It was a cool room. We had Medusa in the room. We had DDP doing DDP yoga. And Starcast was a great time. I've been blessed to go to all three. And this was the second one back at the ranch there in Chicago, in Schaumburg, Illinois. And a fun time, a great time had by all. And word now surfacing that there will be a Starcast 4 in Baltimore in November.
Yeah, man, they're getting really close together. It's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody says that, and it's definitely the truth. There's just a lot of product out there, a lot of content out there. And yeah, if you're a wrestling fan, you don't have to worry that your voracious appetite is going to preclude you from the satisfaction and the satiation that you crave. Because, it's like, was it Pringles or was it Doritos? What was it? Keep eating them, they'll make more.
Oh, yeah, that's really good. I thought you were going to go
Doritos, I think. Was it Jay Leno? I'm trying to remember what campaign that was. But it was like, don't worry, keep eating them. We'll make more.
I do remember that. I do remember Jay Leno and Doritos. I thought you were going to go the once you pop, you just can't stop route, which is me.
Yeah, there's that too. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know that's definitely you.
Definitely me. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm dieting now. Starting to look in some people's eyes svelte. Not that I needed any improvement. I mean, I've mastered. I've been rocking the dad bod since 1995. I mean, I've been doing great with my physical attributes, and but a little bit of self improvement and keeping yourself, living your best life and being your best you is certainly never frowned upon. But yeah, I mean, once you pop, you can't stop. That's definitely me. I mean, the body that I've had at my peak mass is certainly one that you don't get by accident. So I hear you.
Yeah. For me, it was kind of like the other way around. I had to get into shape to have a dad bod. It's like far. But then I had a kid, and I was like, probably it's time to have an actual dad bod. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, tell us a little bit about the show, the con. Tell us about StarCast. Anybody you rub elbows with? Anybody you have a good conversation with? Feel free to drop names, by the way.
Yeah.
Boy and me is really eager to hear all about it.
Actually, not really. I was kind of, in the room, running the room, and just kind of working. Saw some people here and there. Definitely did, come across acquaintances and make a new friend or two. But for me, that wasn't kind of the focus or the crux of the weekend. I was there in a production aspect. I was there kind of, that was my element. So didn't get to see everybody, but got to see a bunch of people and got to meet new people and fans from all around. And it was a blast, man. It's just always a good time.
Yeah, I'd imagine you didn't have a lot of time to see any sights around the city or anything like that. It seems to me like Conrad keeps you pretty busy out there at StarCast for sure. Pretty much constant action. And, honestly, and here's the thing. I'm going to bring it up because I don't want anyone to think I'm trying to, skis out on our Twitter bet that I lost those many, many months ago. But I've got to find a way to make it to one with you so that I can do after karaoke to sing on the Grant Ship Lollipop.
Yes.
Look, I'm not trying to impose this punishment on myself, but the thing is, I don't want people to think that I'm trying to skip out on it. It's just these were the terms we ended up agreeing upon, and we may change them later on, if it doesn't work out. But I don't want people going around saying, Grant Fletcher is going to welch on a bet, because I'm not.
Right. I don't want them saying that either, because I want you to sing the damn thing. I think you do, I think you should go all out. I think if you're going to be a masochist, then you should, listen, man. In this life, if you burn a bridge, burn it to the ground and let the bridges you burn light the way. I think you should put bows in your hair, and I think you should do it up, man. I think you should find a stuffed animal version of Toto, and I think it should be a sight to behold. I mean, I think it should be the way I saw it in my mind was that it would be a spectacle.
Oh, it'll be a spectacle. I don't know what Toto the dog would have to do with a Shirley Temple song, and I keep my hair pretty short. I don't know if I'd be able to put a bow in it, but yeah,
you need to have a stuffed Toto, man. I get it. Listen, hey, Shirley Temple was the original choice for that role.
Oh, that's true. She
just so you know. Yeah.
No, you're right. She was. Yeah.
I mean, you host a trivia show, right?
I do.
That's what Shirley Temple has to do with that, my friend. You could never pull off Judy Garland, so I wouldn't put that on your plate. I wouldn't put that in front of you. Yeah, but when it comes to Shirley Temple, I mean, you go up there with a red drink, grenadine syrup in one hand, and you go up there with a stuffed I don't know, like Clifford the big red dog, but like a littler version, so that you don't have to worry about the logistics of carrying something around that's too big to preclude you from doing your greatest rendition of On the Grand Ship Lollipop, which I think would be, for people who understood why you were doing it. They would love it. And then people who thought that you were just that was, he could be singing Aces High, or he could be singing a modified version of Good Ship Lollipop. I think it would get over with those people too. And by get over with those people, I mean make me laugh.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I try to do in my whole daily life, is have people guessing Iron Maiden or Taylor Temple.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, why wouldn't you? And that's what, and listen, and you only get one, you know what I mean? Like, we only go around this silly little marble one time. So that's it, man. That's the reason. That's the cause and the effect right there, is On the Grand Ship Lollipop. I think it would be classic.
Yeah, enough about me, though, right? Let's talk about wrestling, because I think we should touch on it a little bit here, because our guest this week is not a wrestling-centric guest, even though he is a big fan, and he has performed at StarCast, and he is very talented. And we will get to him in just a little bit here. But what did you think of All Out?
I thought it was great. I thought it was a really good show. Yep.
Yeah, I agree more. Man, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I agree more.
No, you don't. You don't agree more than me. You cannot agree with me more than myself.
Right. That doesn't really make sense to me. I thought it was a very solid show. I think, again, they showed that they can have these pretty high production values that I think a lot of wrestling fans in the mainstream have come to expect, especially from someone who's going to have a major network television show every week. Yeah, I mean, the future looks good. I mean, like we said earlier, it's a good time to be a wrestling fan. I really don't get the debate online that people are having. You have to like WWE or you have to like AEW, man. I just say, just give me it all.
Yeah, that's silly. I mean, it's a war for them in a sense, but it's not a war for the fans at all. And it's not even the kind of thing where it's necessarily more fun if you like one over the other. I mean, if that's just how the chips fall, but nobody should feel forced. I mean, it's not like a Yankees Red Sox thing or a Cowboys Giants. It's just a bit more wrestling for people to have on their plate, and I think that's something that a lot of people crave. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are looking for as much wrestling as possible. They're looking for as many strong companies as possible, and like you said, this is a great time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a war in the sense that, they've got to fight to carve out their portion of the market share for sure. But direct competition, and they've got to know this, direct competition with WWE, I mean, that's a zero-sum game. I don't know if, and I'm sure they're aware that in that type of competition, I mean, WWE's been around for, 3 or 4 generations now, so they're not going anywhere. So really, yeah, why not just try to be a strong, solid wrestling company that's going to give a segment of wrestling fans that are looking for something that they feel like might be missing from their weekly lineup,
Yeah.
Of course, also shout out to Ring of Honor. They're coming to New Orleans here pretty soon.
I saw that. Yep.
I'll definitely be there, probably in some kind of capacity for PW Insider, because I do some work for them. Shout out to Mike Johnson, who is awesome. And then, MLW as well. If you're not watching MLW, you guys definitely should be checking that out on the Fight app as well.
Did you tell the people that we're doing this at about 5 in the morning? Well, 5 in the morning Pacific time.
Right, yeah. I always measure my time in Pacific time, too.
Yeah.
It makes me sound I'm in Central time. It makes me sound a lot more productive if I tell people, I get started at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, Pacific time. You did that to us this time here.
I know. Yeah, how dare I make us get started at 10 in the morning Pacific time. No, I'm kidding. It's not 10 in the morning, but it is about 5.
No, it's like 9. It's like 9 in the morning, like Atlantic time. But it's relatively early.
Yeah. If you were in Puerto Rico, it'd be 9 in the morning. I don't know why we're telling time jokes. I don't know. It's going to be a time joke. I also do think we are a little delirious. Because
why did Billy throw the clock out the window? He wanted to see time fly.
This is our last episode, ladies and gentlemen. We've used up all of our material.
This is just devolving.
And that's it. That's the end of the Eargasm episode 20. Hope you all enjoyed the run. But for real, I think Anyway, like I said,
No, so if Grant sounds a little like punchy, it's because thanks to Grant, we're not doing this at an hour where the two of us would have woken up, had some coffee, acclimated ourselves, been fresh faced to the world, anything like that. But we're instead doing this as like, for me, it's like roll out of bed and talk to my boy Grant Fletcher. Which
I've got this. Man, I've got this day job. I don't know what's up with that. My wife says I have to keep going though, so I guess I'll keep going for now.
You've got it until the orgasm just precludes you and just is too much of a thing where, once the orgasm is able to allow you the comforts of not needing the day job, then you're all set. And won't that be nice?
Are you saying I should keep doing it until we take the orgasm on the road and go to a town near our listeners out there?
Of course.
Are you saying until we sell so many Grapplex t-shirts that I won't know what to do with all the money that's rolling in?
I don't know. I mean, to do that, we'd have to tell people that Grapplex t-shirts are available at prowrestlingtees.com/Joel Gertner.
Yeah, we'd have to tell people that Grapplex t-shirts are very comfortable and that they come in their favorite wrestling-related color, raw red.
Yes. Yes.
Tell them that Day Racron? No, that's not a person at all. Ray Dacron.
Ray Dacron.
Is because he's still got to pay his taxes from last year at Herzegovina.
From the last decade.
Okay, yeah, look, I may have understated that, but he told me he was going to be at StarCast. Did you see him out there at StarCast?
I did not see Ray Dacron at StarCast. He told me he was going to be the official clothier of StarCast.
What does that mean?
If you, I don't know. If you don't buy a Grapplex t-shirt, not to say that it means you're not cool, but what it certainly means is that you are not helping Ray Dacron finance his fund to pay his taxes from Herzegovina from every year from 2007 until now. And it means that you're not interested in keeping you're not interested in keeping somebody out of prison. So there's that. No, man, they'll keep you behind bars. And like you'll see sunlight only an hour a day, and you'll only have basic cable. Man, it is, and they beat you. So it's brutal.
Yeah, I heard over that way too. Tax evasion is only second to murder out there. It's like as you rank, crimes. There's grand larceny, tax evasion, murder.
So they'll put you in Gen Pop, and then when you're in Gen Pop, you're eating. I don't want to go too much because I don't want it to happen to him. So I want this to be such a hypothetical and a moot point that it doesn't really matter. But when he's in prison, what'll happen to him is he'll be eating this mystery meat, this pounded up mystery meat that I've heard isn't made of any kind of it's called schnitzel, and this schnitzel is not to be confused with schnitzel.
I'm glad you repeated it. I was just about to ask you.
Yeah, and it's not made from how to put it. They conserve previous prisoners, so it's what would be referred to in Austin, Texas as tube steak smothered in underwear. I don't want to go into it because I think he's going to pull himself up by his fiscal bootstraps, and I think we're going to sell enough Grapplex shirts that this isn't even going to be a anything to like. It's not a cause for alarm. I don't want to send up any. I don't want to ring any bells or send up any red flags. But the treatment in prison in Herzegovina is not. It's not fun, man. It's not. Safari. It's not excursion. It's not a walk on the beach, man. So he'll be fine. But absolutely buy the shirt. Like, if you're on the fence, like, I don't know, buy the shirt, don't buy the shirt. Definitely buy the shirt. Buy the Graplex shirt. When you go to prowrestlingtees.com/Joel Gertner momentarily, press pause if you have to. What you'll want to do is get the Graplex shirt. After getting the Graplex shirt, which is the first one you'll see when you scroll from top to bottom, and that was a Ray Dacron call. It needed to be right above my personal shirts because he's a sponsor of the show, and that's my lot in life. And then when you get the Graplex shirt, just keep scrolling and do buy other shirts. I mean, I've got my Stud Muffin shirt that's in the form of it looks like a Pittsburgh football shirt. So that's fun. Take a look at that and you'll see how fun that looks. And then there's also a well shirt that I call in the style of Aberdeen because it looks very similar to a Daniel Bryan shirt that's out there on the market. So also it's kind of a takeoff and it's very fun. And when I say it's a takeoff, I mean that when you buy it and then when you take it out of the envelope or package, you put it on. And then when you're ready to not have it on anymore, it's a takeoff. You take it off. I'd prefer if you laundered it because I like people when they're wearing my shirts to have a certain smell or non-smell about them, a certain aroma or lack thereof. So if you could help me out with that, that'd be great. But absolutely buy the Graplex shirt first because there you're not just tossing a few shekels to the keep the 69-minute eargasm off Skype fund, and you're not just helping us live our best cast, but you're also helping this guy Ray Dacron, who, if you knew who he was, you might do something else with your money. I don't know, Brent.
Ray, if you're listening, by the way, no offense, and we didn't mean to freak you out earlier. We're just trying to be realists about the whole situation here.
Yeah, exactly. Not to bum Ray out, but like just so he knows what he's, and he's probably not looking at a whole bunch of time, like maybe a few years or something. I don't know, but a duck's a duck. So I mean,
isn't there another color on the way? Did he tell you anything about another color?
There might be. There might be Blue Crew or Crew Blue or there might be a another Graplex show in wrestling's other most popular color. Might be coming soon. I think we'll sell a few more of these red ones first, just so that we're not overloading them and to help Ray doing too much of a good thing. But definitely the more red ones that sell, the more of a the more it predicates that, of course, we're going to need to. I don't know. It's not my call to make. Ray told me that he wants to do a blue one, but this was also before he saw his life going up in flames. So I don't know.
You're also about 12 years too late for that too. But for some reason, he just had this crisis recently. But I think we've talked about Ray enough. I think our listeners. Well, I don't know. I think our listeners do enjoy hearing about Ray week to week. The Chronicles of Ray Dacron. One day we're going to collect that into some kind of a volume and put that on bookstore shelves for everyone to read, and maybe he'll do a book tour and sign some copies for some people out there. But I do think we really, really should get on to our guest for this episode. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Joel, you recently had a conversation with a very, very funny gentleman, very talented, someone who appeared on America's Got Talent, someone who finished second on that show, which is actually a pretty big deal, man. A lot of people entered on that show.
Yeah, it's he's amazing. He deserves all of the blessings coming his way. He's a big fan of wrestling, has been to StarCast, has made wrestling associated appearances, goes to a ton of indie shows, watches a whole bunch of wrestling TV, just really loves it, has loved it for a long time, man, forever. And we're going to get into that in the interview. Also, just a really kind-hearted, just a good spirit, a good soul. Taylor's got a heart of gold. And it was really, really fun to do this interview with him.
Yeah, he's got a special on Amazon Prime, also on Spotify, called Please Like Me. You guys definitely should check that out. He's got another album out there on Spotify as well you definitely should check out, too. They're very, very funny.
Yeah, absolutely put over all of his stuff because it is really, really funny. I follow him on Twitter. He pops me all the time. Just a really funny guy and just a real good dude.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's throw to our guest this episode. Give it up for Taylor Williamson.
And well, big up yourself and welcome yourself to this episode of the 69-minute eargasm. You've already been welcomed by myself and by Grant Fletcher, but you have not gotten a great big welcome this week from our special guest. Our guest is a unique talent, which is something I don't say all the time. Not with super frequency do I refer to our genius guests as unique talents, but I refer to this one as a unique talent because I see a lot of the things that I see in myself that I adore and that I espouse. And when I find myself to be somebody of unique proportions, imitated but not duplicated, I also look to this man. I look to his social media. I look to his stand-up. I look to his repartee. I look to his wit. And I think to myself, this is a cornball like myself that comes around this marble once in a very, very few occasions. I call this man a unique talent because otherwise to label him would be to negate him as fake Kierkegaard and as fake I. He is the man, the myth, the legend, and the one of a kind spiritual, celestial, intellectual entity that goes on this earth by the name of Taylor Williamson. Taylor, save me from myself and please welcome yourself to this week's program.
Good Lord, buddy. I'm out of breath just listening to that. How do you not take time to breathe? That's a skill. You don't blow up at all.
What makes it, well, you know what? That's just what makes it out of the cranium too. You know, that's just what comes out of the pie hole. You know, from the skull. But you know, there's a lot of kind of the stuff that doesn't. The stuff that gets left on the cutting room floor is it takes a lot of thought to put together an intro, and I'm so happy that you recognize genius when you see it, and I'm not surprised that you do, because I love to be on Twitter, and man, when I'm on Twitter, dude, nobody's Twitter keeps me more entertained than yours does. I'm entertained by your Twitter. I'm entertained when I see you on stage. We've been to a couple of StarCasts together, hanging out. I'm entertained by you in person. You're very funny, but you also have a very, you know, what a lot of people in stand-up don't have is a kind of positive energy. Sometimes people are kind of a little bit smarmy or snarky or snipey or snide, or in one way or another, they come off a little bit as being funny because it kind of, you know, it's kind of either side-handed or it's, long story short, a lot of people are able to, it's not a vile, vitriolic negative energy, but a lot of people are able to kind of tap into, you know, for lack of a better term, an energy that is not quite as positive as yours. But you are able to keep things lively and joyous and happy, and still not to say that you're not sarcastic, But long story short, I love your sense of humor. I guess if you don't mind, the first thing that we might go into is kind of give people, even if they're familiar with you, give people kind of a Wikipedia article of yourself in your own words. So kind of debunk any myths, but kind of in your own words, even for people who are familiar with you, let everybody know your background, where you've come from, the things that you were into growing up, and as it pertains to comedy, give us all a sense of how long you've been doing it, what you've done for sure, and what you're doing now, but also when was it that you knew that comedy was going to be your life?
Joel, there's so much going on here, buddy. This is overwhelming. I don't know where to start. Can I tell you?
It's an eargasm, man. Dude, honestly, I don't know where to go with it. There's so many podcasts out there that if we're going to call ourselves the 69-minute eargasm, it needs to either be an eargasm or a Shiva fiesta. And every other episode of this program has already been such a straight Shiva fiesta that starting with this week, I have made it my mission that it will be and be only an eargasm of epic proportions. And that's why I'm so glad to have you, Taylor Williamson, with me for the start of that initiative.
My heart is racing. I feel like I'm running a marathon right now. This is like a lot of pressure. I'm gonna do my best. Listen, to be fair, you just asked me to give my entire life story, so we'll get to that. But can I tell you this? I used to watch. You can tell me anything you want. Okay, so I'm ignoring your question. So, pretty much, I'm a comedian. I was runner-up on America's Got Talent. I do stand-up comedy, and I like wrestling a lot. I'm amazing, as you heard Joel say. In 7th grade, I was friends with I'm from San Diego area, and I was friends with this rich kid, and I go to his house, and he had satellite TV, and he had the Sunshine Network, and then we could watch, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, Sunshine Network, I happen to know because they were in ECW in the 90s, they were our outlet in Florida. And they were a regional sports network. They were an RSN. So think like in New York City, there was the MSG network, which we were on. And yeah, in parts of Florida, we were on the Sunshine Network.
Yeah, so in San Diego satellite TV, my rich friend had that. So he would show me ECW. I'd watch you, and then he would get the pay-per-views. That's how rich he was. This kid got all the pay-per-views. And we'd watch you. So it's very special to me to get to talk to you. I watched you growing up. It's amazing. And I'm from San Diego. I'm a comedian. I started stand-up comedy when I was 17, and I got some cool stuff early on. I was on the Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson when I was 20, and I thought I was going to get famous and be on a Disney Channel show. That didn't happen. And then 10 years in, my career was really bad, and then I went on America's Got Talent, and then my career's been pretty fun since then. So, and now last few years I've been trying to get my next thing and trying to sell some TV shows, and I had a pilot on Spike TV for a travel show. Then it became the Paramount Network. This business is a nightmare, but you never know where that next turn's going to be, and I've been enjoying getting to be a little part of the wrestling industry, and I've loved wrestling longer than I've loved comedy. So I wanted to be a wrestler when I was a little kid, but then I wanted to be athletic and have muscles and strength and stuff. But it's fun to get to do, because of Conrad and Bruce Pritchard and StarCast and all you guys welcome me into your little world, your amazing world, and to be a little part of it, and it's been so special. So I did the roast of Bruce Pritchard. Like, if anyone's didn't hear it, it's just silly fun. They had a bunch of me and Ron Funches and Mike Lawrence and Dan St. Germain and Shuley from Howard Stern and James Mattern, and I'm probably missing someone else, but we all wrote a bunch of jokes, and we had a bunch of wrestlers roasted Bruce. It was so much fun, and I was going to do the roast of Ric Flair, but obviously he got hurt, so that's not happening. But yeah,
You guys were great at the roast, and you guys were great, man. And you guys also, this last time in Vegas, your set on the stand-up comedy show with a few of those other guys that you mentioned, just, really, really funny. Just, I kind of, again, I knew what to expect from kind of keeping up with your Twitter account, but just like some really, really funny stuff. Now, you were on America's Got Talent, right?
Yes.
Without violating an NDA or, without anything like that, but give us kind of, because I know there are going to be a lot of people that are listening to this that watch that show or have watched it. Give us a little bit of background on what the experience is like to kind of go all the way and to kind of be featured for a season and to kind of make it to the levels you did. So you're one among many, and then all of a sudden you're one among few. So you've seen pretty much all there is to know about the season that you partook in. Give us a little bit of a sense, kind of soup to nuts, start to finish, what the experience was like.
They have pre-auditions on the show, so like if you watch these reality shows, it looks like people just walked off the street onto the stage and into the big audience. But I auditioned 6 months before that at a convention center in front of there's like a holding room. You wait for hours and hours and hours. Then I went up in front of one person and a cameraman, and I told my jokes. And your career is it's just little gatekeepers to bigger gatekeepers, and it's just the one guy deciding if he guy or lady deciding if they vibe with you. And it's this business is circumstance mixed backed up by talent, from my experience. Opportunity backed up by talent. So the one person liked me, and then I went up in front of the executive producers a few hours later, and I did Last Comic Standing for like 2 episodes years before, so I know the shtick they're looking for in these shows. Like, it's not about the most talented person. They want a character that they can deal with and that they can do stuff with. And anyway, so then I worried a lot for 6 months, and then I auditioned. And then even after you audition, they could still cut you. You can get standing ovation and be told you're going to the next round, and they can still cut you because they have to take more people than they can actually use because people fall out for legal reasons or they decide they don't want to do it or whatever. So I was very lucky that they picked me to keep going, and then eventually you go up in front of America, and then America votes for you, and that was overwhelming and fun. And the funny thing is I needed it. Like, this is my career. There's a lot of people that go on these shows just for fun. Like, I'm an opera singer, and I I've never sung in front of people before, and it was like people love that kind of stuff. But like, I'm surrounded by all these like child performers, and like there was one part where the final 2 to go through was me and this little girl, just like this sweet, wonderful like 10-year-old country singer, and I was like, I never had such negative thoughts towards like a little sweet angel. I was like, she doesn't need this. I need this. This is my career. Like, it wasn't just for me, but it wasn't just for fun for me, but and then I just plan on I hope to get on 2 episodes so I could get booked at universities more. I just needed a TV credit, because if you get a little TV credit, then you can get more work. But so it went better than I ever could have dreamed. Like, I got 2nd place. People come up to me like, since you didn't, what do you do now? You lost America's Got Talent. What do you do now? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't win, so I'm not going to keep doing my job. And then people think that my first time on stage was I was doing stand for 10 years. But people think, oh, your audition was your first time on stage, then you lost. And so what do you do now? I'm like, what are you talking about? Anyways, that was the long version.
No, I love it. And I'll tell you, like, here's what I'm trying to figure out, and not in a bad way. Like, don't take it in a bad way. But this is to show that I've gone up and down kind of the wormhole, your Twitter account, man, just kind of really wanting to see all there is to see. And I don't know, dude, it might have been your pin tweet at one time. I'm not sure. But, like, you've got to explain this to me because I wasn't watching the season, so I don't exactly have a full comprehension, but tell me and tell everybody who's listening all about the fact that it seems like Heidi Klum is obsessed with you.
She was the judge on America's Got Talent, and there was if you go on TaylorWilliamson.com, you can watch my whole journey, and I have it all posted there, and it's kind of, I think it's interesting to watch. I mean, you can skip my performances and just watch like the before and after parts, because that's the reason I have a career, I think, not from my jokes, but from the storyline. And like people go on the show and they have storylines like, I'm gay and my mom doesn't love me because I'm gay, but I'm gonna keep singing and show her that I'm a great person, and then at the end the mom loves her, or I have this disability and whatever. When these are all beautiful stories and they're inspiring people and touching people, but I don't have a story. I mean, I have my own shit, but I don't have a story that was worth sharing on TV like that. So my storyline was just, I'm a comedian and I'm poor, bleh. And no one cares, you know? Like that, I can't believe it. I don't think I would get on the show in 2019 with that, but a few years ago that it worked. They liked me enough to do that, thankfully. And but then this turned into be a blessing, but it was horrible for me. It was the first live show, my first time live on TV doing stand-up comedy, biggest crowd I could ever dream of. 5,000 people plus at Radio City Music Hall and this whatever. And Heidi Klum was like, "You're not funny and you're inappropriate for children, and I would never let my kids watch you." And the crowd booed her and stuff. And like, but I cried afterwards when I got to my hotel, because it's so much pressure, and I never had that kind of audience, and I believe mothers were hiding their children's ears and eyes. I ruined their family night, and I really
what's her deal, man? No, I mean, she's got a thing for you. It's like in the second grade where the boy pulls the girl's hair, but it's because he likes her and he doesn't know how to express. Like, she's got a female hard-on for you, dude, because I've seen visual proof, photo documentation of her and you, at least one of you, is in a veritable state of undress. It's not just in a bedroom, it's in a bed. And that's the part that, not to say all of that was inexplicable to me, but that's the part that lets me know that Heidi Klum has a thing for you, isn't it?
Well, so, I mean, the end of the story is, so then the next round, I did a whole bunch of jokes that were like child-friendly, tongue-in-cheek, child-friendly jokes for Heidi, but they were all like boob and sex jokes. And then she started to like me, and then I would flirt with her when I walked out there. I think she's over me now because she's married, and
oh,
she
no.
doesn't return my tweets. But no, but I have a career thanks to her playing along, and literally, I mean, when I get recognized, people go, "Where's Heidi?" Like, that's my thing right now. But it's like wrestling. Like, looking back on it, she turned heel on me, and that made the crowd like me more. The crowd didn't. I had no, what do you call it? Like, no heat, or good or bad heat. What do you say? Is it heat if you're a babyface? When the crowd likes you?
You know, heat or steam, yeah. No steam behind you, no heat, yeah.
So I had none of that. I had nothing. But her getting the crowd to say mean things about me made the crowd like me, you know? And then, so that gave me a giant boost. I sincerely wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for her, like, shit-talking me at that point. So, like, I mean, I literally bought a house, and I've been touring off that for 5 years thanks to her. It's really interesting to me that thing is going kind of weird led to all that. So, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah, so we've done a bunch of stuff together, and I think we're both over it. I mean, I'd be down to get back into it, but I think she's over it.
That's great. Now, you mentioned, you just made a correlation. You made a link between comedy and wrestling, just when you were talking about, the fact that, as a character, you kind of, you didn't have a lot of steam behind you, and getting the interest one way or the other from Heidi kind of gave you a bit of a push along and that kind of thing. And I guess, I want to revisit, I want to go back, because you mentioned, watching on Sunshine Network, so you mentioned ECW, the mid to late 90s, But let's talk about, now that we've talked about comedy, let's talk about your journey starting out, I guess, first as a fan only of professional wrestling, as a fan before you got involved with StarCast and whatnot. But take us through a little bit more. Was Sunshine Network, ECW, that period of time, was that the first wrestling that you had ever seen? Tell us about maybe what was the first wrestling you'd ever seen, and kind of along the way, what you've been exposed to, what you've enjoyed watching, maybe what you enjoy watching the most. And just, for all of the wrestling people out there who'd like to know, tell us, what you've seen, what you like to watch, what's your weekly required viewing, what is it that you make sure that you never miss, and what to you is good wrestling? What is it in professional wrestling that you really look to and look forward to the most?
Joel, you keep eargasming me with 30 questions that are completely different. Okay, I like it. I'm just gonna take it as pick which question you want to answer.
Absolutely. Everybody else does. Absolutely.
I love it.
They do. They just take it and run with it. I appreciate it.
My earliest memory of wrestling is Macho Man and Jake the Snake when Jake Snake was fighting Macho Man. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Jake.
So
Jake was my favorite growing up. Jake Roberts was my favorite wrestler growing up. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was born in '86. So I don't know when that was. I'm guessing 90 or something. But I remember watching that on TV when it happened, like not on tape. And
that would have been when you were very young. Yeah, 3-4 years old. Sounds about right, give or take. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I always was like I remember like my uncle got me like Jake the Snake toy, and I knew who he was and stuff, and I knew $1 Million Man. Like I knew that because what I loved as a kid. The coolest thing ever was that they were all cartoon characters in WWF. Like that was the coolest thing, and I got really into it when I was like probably 10, 11, 12. Like I go to my friend's house to watch it because we didn't have cable, and I really got into it like 96, 97, 98. So like I watched everything. And so I barely got to see ECW. Like that's when I would like go to my friend's house and be like, this is so cool. But yeah, I would watch. Clearly I had terrible parents. I would watch in San Diego, the West Coast time. I could watch Nitro 5 to 8 o'clock, and then I could watch Raw 9 to 11 o'clock. Like that's so embarrassing. Just watch, and I would tape every single show. So I think my mom got rid of the tape because she doesn't love me. But I have 5. Like that's the meanest thing she's ever done to me. I think she threw away all my videotapes. But yeah, I'd record 5 hours of wrestling. I don't know why on earth I did that, but yeah, I loved it. My first show I went to live was a WWF house show in like January '97, and I went to like Bash at the Beach in San Diego, I think '98 maybe, and it was like Dennis Rodman and Hulk Hogan versus Karl Malone and DDP. I went to Saturday Nitro in LA, which was like it's like broadcasted over audio. That was like a thing in LA, and I don't know. So that was that answer. What were the other 12 questions?
What is it that you're watching now? Kind of your must-see list. Like, what is it? Kind of day to day, week to week that you're making sure that you keep up with on a weekly basis or so. And also, it's hard to pigeonhole pro wrestling, and like we were saying before, it's hard to label or define pro wrestling. But sometimes there is an aspect of it that people are able to point to and say, within pro wrestling, this is what I like about it the best. If there is anything like that for you, let us know. But do let us know what it is that keeps you busy that you're watching currently.
I'm not trying to be give a dumb easy answer or safe answer, but I watch all of it, but I can't keep up. I keep up with all of it, but I don't watch every one of everything. It's crazy. There's so much. like I want like WWE has so much content. What like they have 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours NXT now, 2 hours SmackDown, 205 Live, all these amazing documentaries on the network, and like like, and then AEW stuff. Like I went to the last 2 AEW shows. I think I did. No, I went to the Vegas show and I went to the Chicago one. I just lied to you. I've been to 2 AEW shows, and then or one AEW show. I went to All In, which wasn't. I mean, that stuff's amazing. I was at a New Japan show last week and a few days ago in Long Beach, which was stellar. I love Rocky Romero. He's one of my favorites. He's so good. There's just different. I went to PWG last month in LA, which is killer also. I love all of it.
I'm jealous. I've never been to a PWG show, and I'm jealous of you for it almost, because I promoted an organization called MXW mainly in the mid 2000s, like around 2004 to 2006. We had a show in 2010, but one of the biggest compliments I got at the time, and it's kind of because this is sort of the vibe that I was kind of going for, but I wanted a lot of international talent, a lot of hybridization, a lot of kind of, I was going for a certain feel. And somebody came up to me and told me that what I had going was kind of like an East Coast PWG. And it was, at the time, one of the biggest compliments I could get. So I'm jealous of you for being able to go see them.
It's great. I've been going for years. Like, one of my buddies was a referee over there, and I'm trying to remember his referee name. I'll get back to you on that. His real name's Anthony Rosa, so I forgot his referee name. But yeah, I'd go with sat next to his wife, and like she'd be reading like Us Weekly and ignoring the show. And it was still such a killer show, and like obviously Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli and Samurai Del Sol, and I mean, there's so many guys who are like superstars now, and I mean Ricochet, and I mean he was a little later, but yeah, then it became a thing where it's impossible to get inside. Like you can't even get, like in LA, like being in comedy, like you can get hookups to things, like but that was just a show that you can never get hookups to. Like I mean, Young Bucks, of course, I would see them forever, for years and years. Kenny Omega, and anyways, but then it turned into a thing where it's impossible to get in. But now you literally have to refresh. Tickets go on sale at 11 a.m. or whatever. You have to be refreshing at 10:59, and that's 2 computers, and just like refresh. But now they moved to bigger venues, so it's not as impossible to get in, and it's cool. Like I just love how hardcore the fans are, and how amazing the wrestlers are. Yeah, I like all the shows. I mean, as an artist, performer person, it's exciting to see that there's so many different ways for people to get to do what they love. Like, how cool is that? Like, I mean, you remember, like, back in ECW days, like, well, how did people look at it? Did they feel like there was 3 big companies that you can make a living at? It was the ECW, WCW, WWF?
Yeah, I think at the time it was definitely seen as a big 3.
But Japan, was that a consideration?
For some folks, yeah, if you could squeeze that in, sure. For some ECW folks, and absolutely, yeah, Japan was a good way to make money. Always, Japan's always paid very fairly. But yeah, ECW, I think, was definitely thought of as kind of the number 3 in the big 3, and the alternative to, WWF and WCW in their own Monday Night War. But yeah, I think Paul Heyman categorized us as not Coke and not Pepsi, but as Snapple, to where we were something for the people that didn't want whatever else was out there.
That's cool. That's not bad. I'll be Snapple.
Absolutely.
I heard someone make the analogy that like Coke and Pepsi, like Coke is like still like 90% of the market or something crazy. And
I believe it.
Yeah. Anyways, that's
and
not like
but But there are people out there that, their preference is RC Cola. They just feel it tastes best. And just, due to the marketing and the money behind it and everything like that, it's never going to be up there with Coke and Pepsi. But it's some people's preference. And that's kind of, that's what we were. We were the Snapple. We were the root beer. We were the, the White Claw of its time. We were, the taste that people were craving. And yeah, we didn't quite have, the name or the brand behind us. And it seemed, the more we grew, the more we kind of, I almost said cannibalized upon ourselves, and it wasn't quite that. But the more we grew, the more we had kind of brushback, just, in various different sorts. It was just very hard. As we were trying to grow, the landscape was just changing, and different business things went the way they did. But yeah, there's many people for whom we were their overall preference, all else being equal. And man, that's a blessing. That's an honor to run with,
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's like, it's like you can go to Hollywood. I saw Hollywood Bowl. Who did I see? I saw Paul Simon at the Hollywood Bowl, and 20,000 people are loving it. And then I was in Tokyo, and I saw The Offspring randomly, and there were 3,000 people loving it, and it's fucking amazing. Like, what? Like, you're making people happy, and as long as the room is, not that the room has to be full, but like, as the coolest thing ever is a full room, like packed with the energy. Like, it's so badass. Like, how many people do you need to be happy if you're doing what you love and you're connecting with people and you're paying your bills and making extra money that you don't need? And yeah, it's funny, like, thinking about, like, what wrestlers, like, do I go to AEW, go to Japan, or go to Mexico, or go to WWF, or WWE, whatever. Like, just grass is greener. Like, everything sounds amazing. If you get to do what you love, if you get to do what makes you happy while also making other people happy, that's, I think, you want it in life.
Well, to that end, I agree with you, and I'm going to use it as a segue, and I'm going to ask, to that end, Taylor, like, creatively, as it relates to your art, but also as it relates to your living, they're one and the same. And let everybody know, what it is that you've got coming up in the short term, in the medium term. So how are you finishing out the summer? What do you have coming up for the fall? But beyond putting all that out there and letting people know how they can come see you and how they can find you, let us know, at the end of the day, what are some of your goals? And what are some things, you've been on Last Comic Standing, you've been on America's Got Talent, you've gotten TV exposure, you're working within kind of wrestling now and going to StarCast and branching out so that wrestling fans who aren't necessarily stand-up fans or haven't come across you from there, they've gotten exposure to you now also. Like I said, the Twitter account's amazing. So, day to day, week to week, that's very funny and that's a great way to keep up with you. But what's going on near term? What's going on maybe for the fall or for the rest of the year? Let us know any big things that you have, but let us know also what drives you and what have you done that you want to do more of? And what are some things that you haven't yet done that are on your radar that you want to do?
Well, so I did this show, America's Got Talent, The Champions, in January. It's like an all-star thing, like their favorite act from around the world and stuff. So that led to me getting a lot more work this year, like a little bit more than I wanted, honestly. But I'm sure it's the same in your world. It's like you strike while you're hot, and you take it. And I've learned in 15 years of comedy, I'd rather work too much than not enough because I've been in both. So I've been touring like crazy this year, and that's slowed me down a little bit, so that's good. And I'm grateful to the AGT stuff, but I've been trying to sell a TV show because I want to get my next thing that's kind of important to me and would be so exciting to me. And I've been trying to sell a few TV shows, and I do this. I have this like sketch comedy talk show hybrid thing that I'm really excited and passionate about. That's like my main thing I'm trying to make on my own. And I have some cool people who want to help me do it, so we'll see how that goes. And I do a version of it live in LA every month. So if you're in Los Angeles, check out Taylor's talk show. And at Taylor Comedy on Instagram and Twitter. I'm on Facebook, and I post a bunch of stuff on all those things. And I have a comedy special on Amazon Prime. You can watch a bunch of my jokes there. And it's funny how life is, how things not going the way you want them to lead you to doing other things. And I'm leaning into the wrestling world because I've been so kindly welcomed by the community. And it's funny how this crossover between wrestling and comedy, there's just such a mutual respect that is so special to me. And I'm just pleasantly surprised. I go backstage at these shows and they're not like, oh, look at this guy. They're like, hey, what's up? Like, they're not like, how did he get back here? Like, which would be fair to me. And so I've been talking to some companies about doing some on-camera stuff, like behind the scenes type silly stuff. So I would be really excited if that works out. And yeah, those are the things that I'm working on. Did I answer all those questions?
You did. And brother, stop seeking to be robust, because the truth of the matter is you have such a spirit, and you're such a good egg and a good soul, and you've got such energy that I don't think you're ever within pro wrestling going to walk into a room where people, roll their eyes or, turn their back, talk over their shoulder and say, oh, this guy again, or who does this guy think he is? That's never going to happen, because I've seen your humility and I've seen the respect that you've shown to wrestlers and to pro wrestling, and you're just such a nice guy and a good dude that I think, that would never be anything you'd ever need to worry about.
Oh, you're sweet, man. Thank you. And for real, it's special to be here talking to you. Like, this is like, I'm like a kid in a candy store getting to hang out with all you guys. Like, I was in Tampa a couple of weeks ago doing shows, and Gerald Briscoe came out, and like, he came to my shows, and like, it's so crazy to me. Like, I'm sure you, like, your whole life has been in the wrestling business. Like, is there one that stands out? Like, where you're like, how you're at lunch with somebody, and you're like, how did this happen?
Yeah, God, I got into ECW when I was 20, and there have been moments like that. But to be honest, man, when we branch out and get out of our own world, when we, you're in the kind of wrestling microcosm, and then all of a sudden there's this kind of comedy universe. And so, to be honest, like, anytime I get to work, whether it's the podcast or whatever it is, with somebody like yourself or Judah Friedlander or a Dan St. Germain, or, a couple weeks ago I'm working with ICP, and, I've just the different people that you meet, Action Bronson, it's not that I'm trying to name drop, but you know how it is. It's that you want to get all your friends out there and kind of, shout out everybody, and you'll never get everybody's name out there. And that's, I think, the biggest blessing, honestly, is that when you turn the question to me and ask me if there's ever been a moment like that in my life, it's a race against that. There are multiple moments and multiple great people that I've met, interacted with, worked with. You don't know how to answer the question first and best. And I think that in and of itself, not to brag, not to humble brag, but honestly, that's the way it is that thanks to wrestling, I've been able to meet so many different people from so many different worlds.
How cool, man. That's beautiful, dude. And what for me is, like, I think I've said this already, but like, it's just exciting getting to, like, for me to get to meet people like you and like all these guys who, like, I watched growing up. It's bizarre. I think it's extra special. Like, it's cool for me to meet somebody who's, I don't know, if you're famous if you're younger than me and famous, I'm not as excited. But if I watched you when I was 8, like, when The Rock tweets me back, I'm just like, oh, like, I'm not even joking. It's like I have a smile for like a half hour, and I talk about it every day of my life. So, like,
isn't that the way it is?
Yeah. But yeah, dude. So I thank you, and I hope we can do more stuff.
What is crazy in wrapping this up, what's unbelievable, is that even though you're all the way out west, and I'm all the way out east, and Chicago is all the way in the middle of both of those places, the timing is unbelievably impeccable in that even though it's only going to take a couple of days for this show to go up, like, this show should be edited, post-produced, available for people to hear as close to live as possible, still this week, maybe by around Thursday or so. But what's nutty is that how it happened to work out that after we've missed each other, ships passing in the night, and we've wanted to record this podcast for a few weeks now, what's crazy is StarCast 3 is upon us. It also starts this Thursday. For people who are listening, it's probably ongoing right now. And Taylor, you and I are probably going to see each other in person, there's a good chance, maybe even before this podcast goes up in a couple of days. But I'm really looking forward to that. StarCast is going to be amazing. Are you doing anything official? I know you've done at the last couple of StarCasts some roast stuff, some stand-up. Do you have anything as part of the stage show that people who are going to StarCast can look forward to?
I don't know if I'm going. I was gonna do a thing and that didn't work out. But I mean, it's the most fun thing. If anyone's in Chicago, they have to go. Conrad and the whole crew, and Dave and Tony, everyone there. It's the most special, fun weekend. So it was Conrad texted me while we were talking. So I don't know if I'm going. I might go. I might see you there. If I go, I will see you there. But I don't know if I'm going. That's where I'm at right now. But I hope
I'm rooting for it.
Yeah,
I'm rooting
man.
for it. I want you to be there because you've done nothing. You've done nothing but elevate and make more fun the previous StarCasts that you've been to, man. We even had the pleasure of. There were some Q&As during some of the stage shows, some of the live podcasts, that kind of thing. And you were gracious enough to be kind of a moderator and ask questions for the Q&As. And it's just, working with you is amazing. Being in the audience, listening to you, do a set or perform on stage is amazing. And I really am crossing my fingers that you'll be out there. If you get there, man. I can't wait to hang out. I can't wait to see you out there if you're there.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah. And if I don't do this one, I'm gonna try to do a stage show at the next one. And do some goofy stuff with some of you people. So yeah. But go to Stark. Everyone needs to go to StarCast. It's the most fun weekend. It's just ridiculous. Just hanging them out. What? If you're a wrestling fan and you don't go, you're an idiot. Honestly, you're just hanging out. You're just hanging out. Like Joel Gertner walks by and Blue Meanie and Hornswoggle and Tony Schiavone, and it's just like I feel like you feel like you're in a video game, right? Like, it's the coolest thing, and everyone's so cool. Like, I heard a couple of stories of people being douchebags, but I didn't experience that. And also, as a wrestling fan, you want to hear some crazy wrestler stories. That's what you want. So it's all good.
Yeah, that's true. Well, all right, everybody. Thankfully, we had the time. We were able to put it together, and Taylor's been super busy in a good way, as he mentioned, and I've been pretty busy, and it was tough, the two of us getting on here together. But I'm so glad that we were able to do this cast and just and talk with you, man, a bit about your life and a bit about your career, because honestly, you're a good dude that deserves everything that you're getting right now. I'm glad stuff is busy, and like you said, if you complain about how busy it is, then you'll have complaints about the alternative too, and it's better to be busy. Dude, I'm always, kind of looking out at you and kind of and wishing the best for you, because you're a real gentleman, stand-up guy, class act. And if you'd ever be up for it again, if you ever don't mind getting 35 questions in your ear about one thing, if you ever don't mind being a victim of an eargasm again, I'd love to have you on, man. Always, it would be my privilege always to have you on here. You're the man, dude.
Thank you, you're a sweet man. Likewise, dude. Thank you for having me.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with more 69-minute eargasm after this. is time for the history segment. This date in pro wrestling at this time, we give it over to John Pantosi.
Okay, Joel, thanks a lot. So here we go. 52 years ago, in 1967, Boston, Massachusetts, Bruno Sammartino defeated Gorilla Monsoon in a Texas death match to retain the Worldwide Wrestling Federation Championship. These Texas death matches years ago were a very, very big deal. Okay, we shoot 10 years later. Atlanta, Georgia. Tony Atlas and Tommy Rich defeated Pak Song and the Executioner to win the Georgia Tag Team titles. 1980 was a big day. 39 years ago in Allentown, Pennsylvania, the Wild Samoans defeated Tony Garea and Rene Goulet to win the vacated WWF Tag Team Championship for the second time. The title was vacated following showdown at Shea Stadium when Pedro Morales and Bob Backlund won the titles but were forced to vacate them due to Backlund being the world champion at the time. On the same date in Atsu, Japan, Harley Race regained the NWA World Heavyweight Championship he had lost earlier in the tour by defeating the Giant Baba. Now, 33 years ago, 1986, in Columbia, South Carolina, Dusty Rhodes defeated Arn Anderson to win the NWA World Television Championship. We move on to 1993. Shane Douglas wins the ECW heavyweight title via forfeit from Tito Santana. Was this or was this not a phantom title change? Okay. Last but not least, in the year 2000 in Ontario, Canada, Rhino defeats Kid Cash to become the very last ECW television champion. And that wraps it up for today in wrestling history.
Thank you very much, John Pantosi. That is all the news that's fit to print on this date on the calendar in professional wrestling. And we'll have more 69-minute here, guys, after this.
Best friend and someone who I cannot wait watch beat that piece of shit Sean Spears' ass tomorrow. Yeah. Yes! The only thing we all agree on. My best friend, my mentor, Cody Rhodes. Give it up for Cody, baby. Without him, none of us would be here. And that is why I wrote this poem. Please, no talking while I read my poem. Dear Cody, you are everything a person could ask for. The person I am today is because of the unconditional and tender love you have shown me every day of my life. Because of your love, I became strong and confident in who I was and what I could do. I said no talking!
It's not a poem! It's a poem of wedding vows!
I became strong and confident in who I was and what I could do with my talents, my opportunities, and my dreams. What? You have shown me through your own actions.
What?
Stop saying what?
What?
I said stop saying what?
What?
I'm just gonna ignore you.
What?